Hello, everyone. It's Joy Taylor with the Soul Inspired Life, and our Codes to Confidence series continues. I can't believe I'm doing this today. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Joy.
You're probably the person that I've interviewed who's known me the longest. We met when I was 17.
Yeah, in high school, I was working in the guidance and counseling office, and I directed you in the Crucible at the high school. I got to guest direct, and you were amazing.
Well, and I remember at 17 meeting you as this official of the college, of the school, and the director of the play, but admiring you and just really looking up to you as like a big sister. And it was so awesome that you were willing to meet me and all of the students that you were working with and directing as like the potential we were becoming. That's something I always saw in you.
Oh, I appreciate that. You know, it's funny because I remember distinctly, and I had a lot of students I worked with, but there was a other lifetime connection when we met. I mean, that was really obvious. I felt really strongly like we had known each other, we knew each other already. And so it's just been so great to reconnect because, after what, 30 something years, a long time.
We stopped counting because we're here and now. And
Yes,
I'm excited about being here and now because you still do the same thing. You direct people, you counsel people. You're in the guidance center of your own world.
I love that. That's absolutely true. Yes.
And you see the potential in coaches and therapists and consultants and people who have so much beauty to give the world, but might not have the skills to bring it to the online market, to create courses online and to get exposure online. And that's what you're up to today.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I did that myself about 10 years ago. I was making a living as a speaker 100%. And all of a sudden the recession hit and I had no speaking engagements at the end of 2008. And I was a single mom with 2 little boys. And I was like, well, I better figure out how I'm going to sell my stuff, and it's not going to be from the stage for a while. And I started looking into this, Facebook was brand new at that time, and Twitter and blogging. And I wrote an ebook, and then I recorded it as an audiobook, and then I did an online course. And I did 3 online courses that year, basically just taking what I'd already been teaching from the stage, putting it into an online program. And I made $10,000 more in 2009 with 3 speaking engagements than I had the previous year on the road, 180 days, 55 speaking engagements. And it was kind of a no-brainer, I mean, I'd much rather sit here in my office and make a living than, as much as I love to travel and speak, having to fly all over the country and, be away from my family. And
so in retrospect, yeah, maybe it's a no-brainer, but for a lot of people in 2008 and 9, it was the new frontier.
It was. I'm an early adopter. I always have been. My late husband used to say that my superpower is gadget girl if I was going to be a superhero. I just really am always curious about all that. And so now I'm teaching other entrepreneurs, coaches, mostly coaches, therapists, change agents, creatives, how to take their process online. And the rules change literally almost weekly or monthly. I mean, what was working in social media marketing, online marketing, even 3 months ago, has changed rapidly. And so I think it's interesting that it's actually moving back to relationship driven one-on-one as opposed to, 50,000 people on your email list, send an email and get paid, which I used to do, but that's not really working as much anymore. So I like the fact that it changes and I always have to keep up, it keeps me on my toes, keeps me, supercharged, I think. And, so that's honestly, that's the best thing about it, in my opinion. You can't just settle and say, okay, I got it figured out. This is how I'm going to do it forever.
Well, okay, you're already tapping into one of the 7 codes of confidence in the course that I teach. And it is that of having the learner mindset. When you said the word curiosity, I'm like, ding, 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 because that's truly a code to confidence, right?
Uh-huh.
Because you're the gadget girl and you're curious and you can figure things out. But for a lot of people, technology is scary. And gaining the confidence to even think that we can learn technology or learn the online market. So what is it about curiosity that has allowed you to gain the confidence, and how can other people get more confident going online? Let's start there.
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of it has to do with, really finding what people call your zone of genius, right? I was working with a client yesterday and we were just talking about, she already has a pretty big following, but we were just talking about something as simple as So are you sharing with your email list that you have this Facebook group? And are you telling them every time you email them, come over and join me in the Facebook group because I'm going live and I'm sharing? And she's wanting to begin actually marketing to these people, and she needs to build that relationship. And I gave her that advice and a few other things. And she said, oh my gosh, I just can't believe I didn't think of this before. And I said, well, that's not your zone of genius. That's why you hired me. She teaches people how to cook and use an Instapot and create recipes and meal plans. I said, I'm not good at that. If I had an Instapot, it'd be sitting in the cupboard. So, you're doing what you do best. And I think the genius of people who are successful online is finding someone who knows how to do what they want to do and getting help. And I always do that. If there's something I don't know how to do, I'm going to hire someone to tell me how to do it right. And in fact, my current mentor is in her early 30s. And I did that because I'm, older than that and have been doing this for a long time. And I think that a lot of the things I was doing were kind of antiquated and they weren't working. And I thought, well, I need to find someone who's in a different generation. And that's working really well for me because I'm getting my butt kicked in a good way by her. I'm constantly being challenged to step out and do something different. And, so I think that online confidence really comes from finding someone who knows how to do that. Whether that's someone you follow or, someone that you hire to help you or anything in between, reading a book and getting really familiar with, just a few things that you can do to get started. And it's not hard to find somebody to help with that. There are millions of us out there. It's finding the person you resonate with the most.
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit about that before we started, and just you were sharing a little bit, and I would love it if you share, my tribe, with everyone here and the listeners, how you've been gaining the confidence to be more you, more authentic, more, because you're funny, you are the rock star, you are the badass, as you call yourself sometimes. What gave you the confidence to really come out more as Julie Jones in your work?
Well, I think that it's permission almost. I was telling you earlier, I worked with a really conservative, Christian, very sort of in the box community before. And spiritually, that isn't how I roll. I've never been able to talk about my spirituality really within that context. And I always felt like I had to kind of be good, like be my professional self. And my new mentors actually said to me, why don't you just be you? You're hilarious. You are a badass, virtual rock star. And I think people want to see more of that. And I love that. I love having that permission. I've always been an extrovert. I've always really loved people and communicating. And, I never met a stranger. And so I'm really bringing that now and not feeling like I have to be perfect. If I want to go live and I'm taking a walk and I don't have any makeup on and I'm wearing a baseball cap, I do it. And I don't care if people, are offended by that because it's not professional enough. First of all, most people aren't anymore because the online world has given us so much access into everyone's life, in a huge way. And I think really just embracing that, being myself, has allowed me to give permission to other people to do that. If I'm a mentor, if I'm an example, and I'm going on live, with little makeup and talking about something on off the cuff or the spur of the moment, that's going to give your listeners or anybody else who's following me sort of the green light to do that too. So I think you can borrow confidence. I think you can kind of get permission to be who you are. And the bottom line is, once you step into that, I think you gain more confidence every time you do it too.
Well, that's such a key. Something else that is so often, reiterated when we talk about confidence. It's like, it takes time to get confidence in anything, including maybe being yourself, including really revealing who you are. And I love that you're just so willing to be vulnerable, give yourself permission and other people too. And I also know, Julie, you've had tough times. You lost a husband years ago. So there's like a deeper inner strength inside of you. And I wanted to ask a little bit, kind of tap in now to how do you recommend others tap into their inner strength, their inner self-worth to face the challenging times? We've talked a little bit about going online and being ourselves, but we're all going through hard times sometimes. So where was your inner well? What's your resource?
I think it's being present in the moment for me. You know, spiritually, I really do believe strongly that energy flows where attention goes. And my husband died of melanoma 3 years ago. And, you know, certainly that was the hardest time after he died. I mean, I will never sugarcoat that. But I will say that I consciously chose to wake up every day and look for what, you know, what good was in that day, even if it was just, you know, I get to, you know, get up and get dressed and actually walk outside and, you know, breathe the air or whatever that looked like. So for me, I stay really focused on where I am right now in the present. And we were talking before we came online, and, you know, I had one of those days today where like everybody no showed. I did a webinar for 100 people. Nobody showed up. I had a strategy called, she no showed me. You know, I had a client, she didn't even show up. I was so happy that you showed up. And the old me, I think, before John died would have been really frustrated and angry, which also perpetuates, because that's how law of attraction works, more frustration. And so what I do now is I just take a deep breath and I say, wow, there's a reason this has happened. The universe is opening up space for something different. And, you know, as hard as it was to lose the love of my life, he told me, you know, there's a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And I don't know what the reason is, but your life is going to be different and bigger and better. And, you know, I have met another soulmate who I really never thought I would. And that's only because I stayed open and just really, I think I don't fight against what's happening as much as I used to, because I have a pretty big, strong personality, and I used to really like want to drive the ship, you know, and now I'm just more content to kind of put the oars down and float and be okay with wherever I'm being led. And I'm never disappointed when I do that. I think that's the other big piece of it.
You do have a pretty big, bold, and brilliant personality. And so, and not everyone does. So for people who are more introverted or shy, but they have gifts to share with the world, how do you recommend that they gain confidence, or what are some tools that you might offer to those people? Because you appear confident, like you radiate. You're just like, hey, I'm here. You know, I'm 24. I'm directing a play for a bunch of high schoolers. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Take some balls. So, but not everyone quite has that inside of them. What would you say to those people?
You know, again, I'm a big believer in borrowing confidence if you don't own it yourself. You know, who inspires you? What inspires you? I know that I have a mantra rant, I call it, that I borrowed from my friend Dana Wilde, who's amazing. But she does these rants where she just kind of off the cuff pep talks herself, really. And I know for me, because I have my insecurities and moments of doubt too. If I'm feeling that way, you know, I will borrow that tool from her and I'll kind of ramp myself up. I think it's really important what you're putting into your mind, your, you know, psyche. So I'm always reading inspirational things. And I think, you know, you don't have to have a big personality. Honestly, you have to show up and be you. And, you know, if you attempted to be like me, or I attempted to be like you, it wouldn't be authentic. So I think you have to tap into what's really important to you. If you're in a position where you want to gain confidence so you can help someone else, if you're a coach or, you know, a change agent or a creative, then really looking at what type of change you bring about, how you help other people, and how you can communicate that. You know, one of the things I do before I ever do any networking, if I'm going on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, reaching out, is I stop and I take a deep breath and I ask myself, you know, what do I intend for the person I'm reaching out to? And I think when you can focus your energy away from your own insecurities or your own, you know, self-doubt, and look at what's the outcome I want for this person with whom I'm interacting, it changes the game, and it really helps you too. I think that that's huge.
I think it's huge too. In fact, that's code number 7 in the series, but you're just ding, 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 ding. But isn't that, I love that. I love that you said it. And I want to just emphasize, the moment it becomes about the person in front of us or the audience in front of us or someone else or a bigger cause, it's so much easier to get out of are we pleasing or proving, and into our service. And I really love what you said too. Just be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's, you know, who is it? Just be yourself, everyone else is taken. Who said that?
Woody Allen?
No, it was, he was a British playwright. I can't think of his name, but it's one of my favorite quotes. And it's absolutely true. And,
Okay,
you know,
well,
I'll also tell you that that was a big healing thing for me when I was grieving. When I reached out and helped other people, and I wrote through John's cancer journey, and I'm writing a book about that experience. But when you help someone else, or you come outside of yourself and offer something to someone else, it's like a balm, a healing balm for your soul, I think. When I'm feeling a lack of abundance, I donate money to a woman's shelter or something. And I donate money I don't really have, because I feel like that's like a hell yes, to the universe. I have so much more than other people. And so I'm going to give, and it always comes back to me tenfold. So I love I love that that's a part of what you teach too, because it really is huge.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think I have one last question. I actually have tons of them, but
We'll have to do this again.
Oh yeah, we'll pick another topic. I'm sure we have
Yeah.
something fun to talk about. So part of why people want confidence and why people even come to a soul-inspired life is because they are looking to live a life of purpose, a life of more meaning, and likely to take on a bigger cause, right? Through profession, organization, it could even be relationships. But as you and I know, and everyone listening, we all know, that requires being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And so can you talk a little bit about how far people ought to stretch out of that comfort zone, and how to navigate the journey of moving into those new arenas that are unknown and can be a little bit scary or daunting at times?
Definitely, yeah. And I think, if you're not sort of pushing yourself, I always tell my clients, there's a teetering edge goal, right? So if you're standing on the edge of a cliff and you're like 5 steps back, there's no adrenaline really. You're safe. I mean, you don't want to be so close to the edge that the dirt's falling and you're slipping either. But if you're close enough that you get that sort of ooh in the pit of your stomach, I've heard it referred to as your not your comfort zone, but your zone of trust. And so if you think of, being inside your comfort zone, being outside your comfort zone, and then this zone of trust is really that area where, you're not so uncomfortable that you can't imagine the next step, or, perform to do something new that doesn't feel comfortable, but it's also not so outside your comfort zone that you're, having an anxiety attack. Right. So, and I think for me, my zone of trust is really about knowing that if I take that step, the answer is going to be there for me. The universe has got me, because it always does. That I'm supported because I'm willing to take the step. So for me, that really it's the big part of it. So you have to be a little bit uncomfortable, and, don't go crazy. I mean, it's there's a certain amount of not, I don't want to say stress, but, getting outside of that, I totally know what I'm doing, and feeling like consciously incompetent, right? Gosh, I see all that I have to learn and I don't have it yet, but I'm willing to step forward and move into that. So I think that's probably the best answer. Your zone, if you Google zone of trust, I have no doubt you'd get a better definition than I just gave you, because I didn't make it up. But yeah.
Well, no, I love what you just said there. Just the being willing to just keep learning a little bit more and stepping a little bit further.
Yep.
Wow. So Julie, how can people find you if they want to learn more or bring their zone of genius?
Zone of genius. Yeah. It's thevirtualrockstar.com is my website. And I also have an awesome private Facebook group called the Badass Women Course Creators. So if you are a coach or a therapist or a creative who is working one-on-one with clients and feeling a little bit overwhelmed by the time constraints and would like to clone yourself into an online program so that you can reach more people in less time, scale your business, and free up your time, come join our community. If you just put in Badass Women Course Creators in the Facebook search, you'll find the link to my private group. And as long as you fit into the category of, I'm somebody who works with clients and helps bring about transformation, and I'd like to learn how to put that into an online course, you're in. And I go live in there every week. There's a ton of really awesome information, and it's a great community. And I only work with women. I really decided to niche down, and I'm much more comfortable working with women, and especially badass women like us. So
All right, we'll see you all there.
Yeah,
This
I
is
love that.
so fun. I just laugh at our memories.
Me too. They're awesome. And I still have that photograph of us up at that mountain retreat that I will always, always treasure. And you are just amazing. I'm so glad to have been a part of this. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, well, now we're not acting, we're just being ourselves.
Exactly.
Imagine that. But theater was good to step out of that or
Talk
into.
about confidence, right? If you really want to get confidence, go audition for a community theater play. That'll help.
Yeah, actually, Toastmasters or just take a drama class, do
Yeah.
improv, stand-up comedy,
Yeah.
because you lose yourself. That's
Open
one thing.
mic night. Totally. Absolutely.
You lose yourself and then you find yourself, and then when you're in yourself, it's easier to be you. Something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you walk off stage and you've done it. That's a huge confidence boost right there. Plus you're done and now you can just go be comfortable,
Yeah.
off stage. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. I've never had a problem with that. I love being on stage. It's my favorite place to be. But
Well,
most people, public speaking is a big scary thing. So
well, gosh, and if you recall, I remember it was a big stretch for me. It really was to
yeah.
get that leading role. That was scary. And it definitely boosted up my ability to, yeah, feel comfortable in front of people.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Julie, one of my very first mentors. And I can't wait for our future because there's going to be more to come.
Me too. I can't wait either. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. And everyone, live, love, and lead your soul inspired life. See you soon.